Hart Company made 4,000 bookshelves using 22,500 board feet of wood, costing $267,200. The company's direct material standards for one bookshelf are 8 board feet of wood at $15 per board foot. Compute the direct material variances incurred in manufacturing these bookshelves. Indicate the effect of each variance by selecting F for favorable, U for unfavorable, or none for no effect. Impute all amounts as positive values and omit dollar signs in your responses. Okay, so we're trying to figure out direct material variance, price variance, quantity variance, and whether it's favorable or unfavorable, so on and so forth. So the first thing we want to do is take the $267,200 that we actually spent on wood and divide that by the 22,500 board feet to get an actual price per board foot, which was 11.87555 cents per price per board foot. Keep that in mind. Next, we'll take the 4,000 bookshelves that we made times the 8 board feet that we're supposed to use to make one to come up with the amount of board feet we're supposed to use to make 4,000 bookshelves, which is 32,000 board feet. These two things are important to make calculations on. Alright, price variance. That's our first little variance to compute. Price variance is going to be the actual quantity of material times the difference between the actual price and the standard price of material. So let's plug in what we know. So you always start with how many bookshelves did you make? Well, you made 4,000. Okay, keep that in mind. The actual quantity that we used to make those 4,000 bookshelves was 22,500 board feet. The actual price that we paid for that material was 11.87555, which we figured up here, actual price per board foot, compared to the standard price per board foot, which was supposed to be $15. And hopefully you can see that if the standard price is $15 per board foot and we only paid $11.87, then it's going to be a favorable variance. And it's going to be favorable in dollars of $70,300. That's the difference between the 15 and 1187. That difference times 22,500 board feet. Next, so there's our first answer, 70,300. And like I said, that's going to be favorable. Our next variance is a quantity variance. The quantity variance is going to be the standard price times the difference between the actual quantity and the standard quantity allowed to make 4,000 bookshelves. Plug in what we know. We know the standard price is supposed to be $15 per board foot. We got that from up here. The actual quantity that we used was 22,500 board feet. That's how many board feet we actually used to make 4,000 bookshelves. We're allowed to use 32,000 board feet based on this calculation. If you make 4,000 bookshelves and you're allowed 8 board feet for each bookshelf, then you're allowed a total of 32,000 board feet to make 4,000 bookshelves. Hopefully you can see that if we were allowed to use 32,000 board feet and we only used 22,500, then our quantity variance is going to be favorable. And now we just need to turn that into dollars. So the difference between the 32,000 and the 22,500, that difference multiplied times $15 will give us $142,500 favorable quantity variance. So that'll be plugged in right up here, and like I said, that's going to be favorable. Our last thing to compute is the direct material variance, which is the sum of these two, price and quantity. and that will be, it's sometimes called the total direct material variance. That'll be the price variance combined with the quantity variance, and since they're both favorable, you add them together, comes out the total favorable variance of 212,800. If they were both unfavorable, you'd add them together. If one's favorable and one's unfavorable, then you subtract them to get a net variance. Looks like we're finished.